Good morning, children. Welcome to English class. I hope all of you are doing well. In the last class, we have discussed about Shantiniketan and its inner beauty. Rabindranath Tagore named the school Shantiniketan, and also he termed it as the darling of our hearts in one of his songs. And also the author C.F. Andrews have shared his experience of staying in the ashram with the boys. We also came to know about the choristers, the early risers in the ashram, and also how the melodious voice bring inner peace to the soul. Now we shall proceed with the next part of the lesson. After an interval, each boy takes his asan, his square of carpet, into the fields and sits down on it to meditate in his own place alone. Later on, before the schoolwork begins, the boys all stand together in the shade of the trees and sing their hymn. Children, here after the morning routine, after an interval, all the boys take their carpets and go to the fields to meditate. Where they will go, children? To the fields to sit and meditate. Later on, they will come back and stand together in the shade of the trees for the prayer. Before the school work begins, all of them stands together in the shade of the trees and do the prayer. Till 10:30, the work of the school goes on. We have no classrooms. The boys sit with their teachers in the open air under the trees. There are no larger classes. A group of 8 or 10 boys are seated round the teacher asking him questions. Very few books are used. A greater part is carried on through conversation. The boys soon learn to open out all their difficulties to their teachers, and the teachers get keenly interested in the boys' questions and answers. Such living education can never be dull. Children, after the prayer, the work of the school begins. There are no classrooms in Shantiniketan. It is totally different from that of other schools. Usually, the children sit in the classrooms and learn. But here, the boys sit with the teachers in the open air under the trees. Where they will sit, children? They will sit under the trees. There are no larger classes. A group of 8 or 10 boys sit around the teacher asking him questions. Very few books are used. A greater part is carried on through conversation. Usually, in other schools, we use lots of books. But in Shantiniketan, children learn through conversation. The boys soon learn to open out all their difficulties to their teachers, and the teachers get keenly interested in the boys' questions and answers. The advantage of learning through conversation is boys learn to open out all their difficulties. If they have any doubts, they will ask the questions and clarify with their teachers, and the teacher also feels very happy. They are also much interested in answering to the questions of the boys. Such living education can never be dull. So this living education makes the class more interesting. Is it clear, children? When the morning work is over, the boys bathe and go to their meal. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the classes begin again. But at this time, the work is chiefly with the hands as well as with the mind. Handiwork is practiced, and the boys' own natural tastes are very soon discovered. Some prefer carpentry, others prefer mechanical work, others enjoy spinning and weaving, others become skilled draftsmen or painters, others are musicians. After the morning class is over, the boys go to bath and have their meal. After the lunch, the classes begin at 2 o'clock. In this class, no books are used. Their work is chiefly with the hands as well as with the mind. Handiwork is practiced. What type of a work is practiced, children? Handiworks. That means the work related to hands. Here, boys prefer the work as per their natural taste. They choose the work of their wish. Some prefer carpentry, mechanical work, spinning, weaving, painting, and music. There is a very little bookwork in the afternoon. School is over about 4 o'clock, and then there is a rush to get first into the great open fields for football. Our Shantiniketan boys are famous everywhere for their sports and games. As I told, in the afternoon session, no books will be used. By 4 o'clock, the school gets over. After the school, all the boys go to the field to play football, and Shantiniketan boys are famous everywhere for their sports and games. In the evening, at sunset, they return from the fields and sit down once more for a short time to meditate in silence. The boys who goes to play in the fields return in the evening and sit down for a short time and meditate in silence. As night comes, fairy tales are told, short dramas are recited, our Gurudeva's songs are sung, and different school gatherings are held. As night comes, the boys in Shantiniketan spend their time by telling fairy tales, reciting short dramas, and singing Gurudeva's songs, and also they enjoy their time by taking part in different school gatherings. By 9 o'clock, all are glad to retire to rest, and again the choristers go round the ashram singing their last evening hymn. There can be no question as to the happiness of the life of our boys. Their faces tell the story of their joy and their freedom. There is no freer life in India than the life of our children at Shantiniketan. When the clock strikes 9, all the boys go to the bed happily, and again the choristers go round the ashram singing their evening hymn. Singing the prayer song, they will go round the ashram. There can be no question as to the happiness of the life of our boys. By looking at the face of the boys, we can tell how happy they are. One need not question the boys about the happiness. There is no freer life in India than the life of our children at Shantiniketan. The author tells that there is no comparison for the happiness of the boys at Shantiniketan. He also tells there is no free life in India than the life of our children at Shantiniketan. This is all about the lesson A Day in the Ashram. Did you all understand, children? Yes? Okay. Now here comes your assignment. Answer the following questions. How do the boys spend their evenings? What are the Shantiniketan boys famous for? How do the boys spend their time before going to bed? Children, you have to read the lesson properly and write the answers for these questions in your rough notes. Is it clear? I hope this class was beneficial for you. Meet you all in the next class. Thank you.